I have to admit, I'm still hesitant around organized religion. This congregation is about as organized as I want to get. But as a child growing up in a chaotic household, I needed an all loving father figure that I could feel when life was beyond my understanding. When a nun told me that my best friend couldn't go to heaven because she was Protestant, I decided that religion wasn't even related to my inside companion. I knew it was nonsense to exclude her. After that, when I grew up, I left Catholicism and I wasn't interested in exploring an alternative. Anyway, by then it was the age of Aquarius. And with my peers, I made a personal study of philosophy and I explored a lot of religions. I learned much from the beliefs of others, but I still went inside for spirit. Then I became a parent, and my children soon grew beyond my ability to answer big questions. I specifically remember one spring break when, right in the middle of a messy application of wet, sloppy newspaper to an Easter egg balloon, my 8-year piped up and said, "Mom, what is God?" I should have said, "Sweetheart, that is a personal question that you've got to answer for yourself, but I will help you to explore it." Instead, I said, we'll talk about it later. And be careful, you're dripping on the floor." I did take his question seriously, and soon we were church shopping. We started with religious science, which had an open-ended Sunday school curriculum and an engaging minister. We moved back to Ohio, and I found that while the curriculum was the same, the minister wasn't. We tried Unity, a lovely faith, but again, after time, the minister seemed to give more answers than questions to contemplate. And besides that, the children's spiritual learning was too much Jesus and not enough diversity exposure to suit me, and I'm picky. My youngest became enamored with his friend's charismatic church. In the spirit of free development, I accepted the parents' gracious offer to continue taking him, but after a few months, he was the one ready to go church shopping again. Then, just like Goldilocks, I found a place in a tiny Unitarian fellowship in Yellow Springs that was just right. I even became the youth RE leader for a year. And in that space of open exploration, I also entered the world of transformational study with Werner Erhard's work. My children grew up, I married again, and we moved to Cincinnati. Landmark had a center here, and I discovered that many of the people I especially enjoyed in the seminars also attended St. John's. I might have ventured here to visit, but Sunday was a precious time with my atheist husband, so I didn't. Not until Landmark closed their tiny Cincinnati office did I miss a lack of community of people who were up to something. And I missed it so much that I thought about trying St. John's, but there was one small problem. You had a minister. I respect the education, the sacrifice, and the commitment such people embodied, but Landmark leaders always exhorted us not to believe anything they said, but rather to try things on to see for ourselves what fit. So I remained suspicious of any organized religious leader. Then, in a hospital waiting room with Mary Lynn Schuster, I met Mitra. Imagine my surprise to find out she was the minister at St. John's, and she seemed to be a fellow explorer. During our long and interesting conversation, not once did she ask me to come visit her church. It was only a matter of weeks before I signed the book. I do know that the UU covenant extends far beyond and far longer than these walls have even stood. But I find what I need within this community. I share your commitment to finding paths of harmony. Here you nurture interest in diverging ideas, in growth, in actions for social justice that will make a difference. Here, you conduct yourselves with courteous consideration and respect, despite differing views. These very walls exude compassion and love, and it flows, pressed down and running over to the community and the world. When my daughter died and I shut myself away, Nancy Henry stretched out a hand of understanding and love with no pressure. Nancy and each of you reflect all those attributes and many more I haven't named. I see their flame in every one of you. You, my friends, are just right. You are all I longed for, and I am home here.